It is the political equivalent of a Julius Caesar moment. For 5 years, J.D. Vance has been the loyal soldier. He was the attack dog. He was the man who went on television to defend the indefensible, who smoothed over the rough edges of MAGA for the donors, and who stood silently behind the president while the world burned. But this morning, Saturday, January 31st, 2026, the silence ended and the loyalty died. Referring specifically to the catastrophic ICE raid on the Holy Grace Tabernacle in Dallas, where federal agents tear-gassed children in a church basement, Vance used a word that is forbidden in Trump's White House: mistake. He called the raid an operational failure. He admitted that the administration has lost control of the narrative. And in the most damning segment of the tape, he told a room full of panicked donors that he is personally stepping in to clean up the mess, because the current strategy is a suicide pact.
This is not a gaffe. This is a coup. Is President Trump already isolated in the residence following the Davos disaster, the Japan bond crash, and the Florida polling collapse? Is reportedly livid. He is calling Vance a snake and a traitor, but he is realizing a terrifying truth. He cannot fire the vice president. In this massive deep dive special report, we are going to play you the audio that is ending the Trump presidency. We are going to expose the shadow campaign that Vance and his Silicon Valley backers, led by Peter Thiel, have been building for months. And we are going to explain why this betrayal is the first legal step toward the invocation of the 25th Amendment. The captain is going down with a ship, but the first mate just launched the lifeboat. To understand the magnitude of this betrayal, we have to look at the setting. While Washington, D.C. was paralyzed by the Make America Goa Away protest yesterday, J.D. Vance quietly slipped away to Ohio. The official schedule said, family time. The reality was a frantic emergency summit with the Republican Party's mega donors at a private estate in New Albany. These are the people who fund the super PACs, the energy tycoons, the crypto billionaires, the manufacturing giants.
They are terrified. The Japan crash wiped out their portfolios. The Canada blockade is killing their supply chains. The Holy Grace raid is alienating their Christian employees. They demanded answers, and Vance gave them the truth. The audio was leaked to Politico and the New York Times by a donor in the room who felt the public needed to know. Here is the transcript of the key segment. Donor question. Mr. Vice President, we are getting killed out here. The boycott is real. The markets are broken, and watching feds storm a church in Texas that looks like tyranny. Is the president listening to anyone? J.D. Vance, look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that everything is going according to plan. It's not. The raid in Dallas was a mistake. It was an operational failure of the highest order. You don't use tear gas in a sanctuary. That is not who we are, and it's not what we promised. Donor, does the president understand that? Vance, pause. The president is incredibly focused on the fight, but sometimes, in the heat of the battle, you lose sight of the collateral damage. That is why I am stepping in. I have spoken to the Attorney General. We are reviewing the protocols for these tactical teams immediately. We are going to stop the bleeding. If the current strategy is a suicide pact, I'm not signing it. Let's analyze that. Operational failure. Trump defended the raid. He called the pastor a coyote. Vance just called Trump's defense a lie. I am stepping in. He didn't say the president has asked me to help. He said, I am stepping in. He is asserting executive authority over the president's head. He is telling the donors that he is now the de facto CEO of the government. Suicide pact. This is the kill shot.
He is framing loyalty to Trump as political suicide. He is giving the donors permission to abandon Trump to save the party. This leak wasn't an accident. J.D. Vance is a disciplined operator. He knew there were phones in that room. He wanted this out. He wanted the world to know that he is the adult in the room, while Trump is the mad king.
The scene inside the White House this morning is being described as volatile. Trump woke up to the headlines. Vance breaks ranks. VP calls raid a mistake. For a man who demands absolute loyalty, this is the ultimate sin. Mike Pence refused to overturn an election, but he never publicly criticized Trump's policy while in office. Vance just did. Sources say Trump tried to summon Vance to the Oval Office. Vance refused. His staff informed the president that the vice president is continuing his schedule in Ohio to reassure the base. This is a power move. Trump cannot fire him. The vice president is an elected constitutional officer. Trump can strip him of staff. He can lock him out of meetings, but he cannot remove him. Trump took to Truth Social at 8 hours a.m. J.D. Vance is getting bad advice from globalist donors. He doesn't know the details of the Dallas raid. The pastor was a criminal. J.D. needs to get tough or get out of the way. I am the president, not the donors. But the tweet felt weak. It wasn't the fire and fury of 2016. It was defensive. Trump realizes that without Vance, he loses the Senate. He loses the tech money. He loses the future. And Vance knows it. Why did Vance turn now? Follow the money. J.D. Vance is a creation of Peter Thiel and the PayPal mafia. His rise was funded by Silicon Valley libertarians who wanted disruption, but they wanted creative disruption, not economic collapse. The great American boycott we discussed yesterday is killing big tech. The EU threatening to ban U.S. data transfers, the anti-coercion instrument, is an existential threat to Facebook, Google, and Palantir. If the EU turns off the data tap, Silicon Valley loses 30% of its revenue. Sources in the tech world tell us that Peter Thiel and Elon Musk had a come-to-Jesus meeting with Vance earlier this week. The message was simple. The Trump experiment has failed. He is destroying the capital markets. He is destroying the brand. You need to save the vehicle. Vance is the bridge between MAGA and the money. The money just told him to dump MAGA to save the economy. His comments in Ohio were a signal to the markets. Don't sell everything yet. I'm taking over. And look at the markets this morning. Stocks rallied slightly on the news of the leak. The algorithm likes Vance. It hates Trump. That is a dangerous dynamic for the president. When Wall Street votes for your replacement with green candles, your days are numbered. We have to talk about the constitutional mechanism that is now on the table. The 25th Amendment, Section 4. It allows the Vice President and a majority of the Cabinet to declare the President unable to discharge the powers and duties of his office. Until today, this was a fantasy. You need the VP to lead it. Now the VP has signaled he is willing to break with the President. Is he counting votes? Let's look at the Cabinet. Secretary of State Rubio, humiliated by the vassal tweet. Probably a yes. Secretary of Treasury, terrified by the Japan bond crash. Probably a yes. Secretary of Defense, furious about the Sarah Jenkins shooting and the abuse of the military. Definitely a yes. Vance doesn't need to invoke it today. He just needs to dangle it. He is telling Trump, I have the pistol in my pocket. Let me run the government, or I pull the trigger. This is a soft coup. Vance effectively becomes the acting president.
Trump becomes the ceremonial tweeter. The bureaucracy will stop listening to Trump's orders and start sending everything to Vance's office for review. We are witnessing the neutering of the presidency in real time. The Holy Grace raid was the catalyst because it split the base. Vance is a Catholic convert. He understands the religious right better than Trump does. He knows that tear-gassing a nursery is a red line for evangelicals. By calling it a mistake, Vance is siding with the church against the state. He is telling the Christians, "I am one of you. Trump is just a chaos agent."
This allows the base to abandon Trump without abandoning the party.